What?
About the CSS file.
Yes.
Because now you're putting it in add.css.
Yeah.
You look more kind of confused. What do you
Just a second.
Okay.
What's confusing?
I mean, because you use the same name as the name of the file as.
It's like
You are-
no. This
you are
is
selecting
like
Yeah.
up class, and I'm putting here up class. It's about the name here, so I'm putting up here. So you should put up here. It's a class name. It's not really related to anything.
No.
I can put here, take this,
I
and put it
understand, yeah,
inside here. It doesn't. It's not.
I think well, I don't know. If I'm doing this, I would have given it a different so that it's not be confusing with, you're
Yeah.
doing. I don't know if you get my point. That will not be.
Okay, so let's say you have like container.
Fine, better. But actually,
Container. Okay.
Yeah.
But there is just one thing you cannot see because the height of my. I'm not rendering anything. Let's say I will put. It's so small. Even though I'm putting 70% height. But 70% of what? Of HTML. But HTML it's almost zero. It's really small. So I use something called viewport. So view height it's like the height, the view height, and view width is the view width. So when you say the view height, it's this. This is the view height. It's from here until here. This is the view height. It's like the view, your view, what your browser is occupying. And when you say 70%, it's 70% of the view height. This is, yeah. It's really useful sometimes when you have.
Fix something.
What?
Then we fix something.
It's not just about fixing, but let's say you have like a view, for example, Facebook. They have the side chart here and they have the main site. But if they use percentage is depending on another thing. Maybe they will have bugs, they will have some problems, but when you use the view height or the viewport, it just fixes. It's depending. So when
also do the same for the width.
just a second.
Okay.
When I will be, hey, let's say I will put 50 here, which is the half. This is the half. When I will start like bringing this up, it's still taking the half.
You can also do the same for the width.
Yeah, instead of you can
Maybe
put
like
like
80.
view width instead of view height, view width. It's 100%, so it's taking. It's the same thing as 100%.
To make it like 80, let's see the effects.
So you can see here. It's really like depending on the viewport or the view height. Clear? I don't wanna like if you want to read about it, just yeah, do it.
My question was if you only have index.css,
Object.
index.
Yes.
That's the only index file you have.
What?
That's the only index file you have.
Yes.
That's also where you write your container. But you're using the container
Let's say I will write it like my, or let's say style.css. I will import style.css here. It's automatic. Okay.
The reason it works is because
We are importing it here.
in the main.
Not in the main. I can import it anywhere.
Yeah.
You're
setting the container in FPS.
In app.js. I can import it here. I should import it. So when they will start it will start executing JavaScript, they will pick the CSS and extract it to a separate file.
I mean, you can import files into different components.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So let's say here yarn run build. I will build the application. I will produce the JavaScript that I can run. So this is the build. So I have the index.html, my index.html here. I have the service worker, I have the static, I have JavaScript. This is the main JavaScript. It's really big because it's including React and all these things. I have the CSS. This is my CSS. It's body and also there is container, width and height and stuff. So if I will create another CSS file, they will bring the content. It will bring the contents from that file and just put it here. It's like JavaScript. We have a lot of JavaScript files, but it will put them just in one file. Okay. So we have this thing. Let's say we will try to build like the same to-do application, kind of. So what we need the search or the add, we need the list. So let's put for example here the to-do. No, let's to-do list manager. It's like this component will manage my to-do list. If I have like to-do list manager and like weather component, I can just put it here, a weather component. So import to-do list manager from to-do list manager from. I need to. No. Class, just a second, class, wow. Import React from React, class React extends React.com.
Can I ask a question?
Resolution? Yes.
I saw a shortcut. If you import React, if parenthesis is component, then you don't need to put React.component. I don't know if that is better. If you put component, then you don't need to put React.component.
He's talking about this. He's talking about this.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Okay.
No, it's not almost the same. It's the same.
Okay.
The same. Because when you put stuff here,
so you don't need to repeat it.
It's like React inside the JavaScript will do React.this because it's inside it. So it's really up to you.
Okay. Just want to clear that one up.
So that's really up to you. Sometimes I use this. It's really about your company. For example, I'm not allowed to use this in my company.
Depends on people
how they style their code.
Okay.
We decided in the beginning that we will use this style.
Okay.
So I'm not allowed to use the second style. It's not allowed to use it because we aligned it that we will use this. Other companies, they said we use the second one and not this one. It's shorter. It's better. So there is no answer about it.
I'm actually using the other one.
Yeah, I just want
up to you. Up to you.
I'm using the first.
Yeah.
Up to you. No, because I don't know what is old version or new.
No, that's really like JavaScript. It's not really related to React.
Okay.
It's JavaScript.
Alright.
So it's really up to you. So now here we will have like class. We have like div. We have a component called to do list, and we have like to do form. This will not work. No, but like this it will not work because I need to put capital letter in the beginning of React classes because even a function, it's a class. I need two components, so import to do form from, let's create a file. We can name it to do form, we can name it test. It doesn't, But it's better to have kind of line names, better names, kind of makes sense. Not really call it to-do list, and after that you'll find header inside it or footer, and it's import search. It's just a disaster. Okay,
Mhm.
and we can do the same here, but instead we do to-do list. Let's create a new folder like to-dos, to-do, and inside it we put even the to-do manager. So here in the app you do to-dos / to-do manager. Okay, and you need to export default. Okay, I will copy this, I will put it here. So we have new to do for. Wow, I created a folder. Delete this. To do list to do for. You can use this and it will expand them to 2 patterns. So it's really handy than this. This by terminal is really good. I can even put like hundreds of files there. So okay, so I will put this thing here. What? Yeah, I will put this here. I will remove the app. I will remove the index. I will to-do list. I will put this here, and I will say to-do list. Doesn't make any sense to import these. It's not React. It's to-do list. Okay. It's not React. It's no one said anything about that. That's not bad. That's a bad sign. You should follow me.
So far, we don't see from
No, but I was. It's the same thing here, because I copied the code from here. No excuses. To-do list manager. To-do form. To-do form. Let's try and run. Yeah. Start.
Excuse me, I think you have 3.
Just a second. Would you
okay.
like to run? Oh yeah, because I'm running. No. What was your question?
Can you go back to the main?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here we are running to-do form, to-do list.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we are running to.
What? And I said you have 3 files in that to-dos folder. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, in one folder.
Yeah. It's just folders.
Yeah.
I can rename this source. It's because just a convention. React said that you need to put the index, the global file, inside the source folder. But if you are using your own setup, you can do whatever you want.
many people using components in that folder. Use the new component.
What do you mean by component?
Like
The folder
components,
name.
the components, when you have it, people just use it there.
Yeah, it's just organizing because for example, I don't know, like in my company we have a lot of components. Maybe more than 500 components.
You make a folder
We have like folders. For example, we have file upload, so we have a folder called file upload. I put all the components related to the file upload. We have a component like to the pop-ups. When you do something, it's yes or no confirming. I put all these like components in there. So imagine if you have like just 15 components. 15 components in one folder? It's so much.
But also to use our what is called our project, our exercise about to use.
Yeah.
It's still like confusing if you come to the inside of the
Exactly. So I have to-do list and to-do forms. You can see from here, I guess. Okay. So we will start. So the thing, we have a form. So inside the form, I should have input. Would type text.
Then
I put value, something, or to do. I wish I to do.
you will change.
Write some. I would just. No, just like placeholder. To do. Write something here. Okay. It's better to, instead of going in one line, just doing this. And I have the on change. On can play. On change. It's not a button. Yeah, on change. We have like chain, state, change, callback here. Okay? What I need is a button. A button. Text, let's say, yeah. Add. On click. On click. On click. I'm not writing any code here, just like placeholder, so we can remember what we should put here when we come back to the on click handler to add to do item. Okay. That's the only thing that we need. Type is text. So we have these things. Okay. What we need also. So yeah. Now every time you add or something. So here we need some state and stuff so we can update it. But let's say you update the state here. You update the state here. But how you can change the to-do list, because you need to add also the to-do. You need to also add the item to the to-do list. But we cannot change the to-do list here because the to-do list, it's a separate component. So I have a component holding the form logic, another component holding the to-do list logic. But how they can communicate with each other? If they are rendering each other, if one component is the parent of the other component, it's easy. We can use props or pass state or something. But these are kind of siblings, so no one can talk with the other. This component cannot communicate with this component, and this component cannot communicate with this component. The solution here is to use a parent component and communicate through it. So we have two components. The first component will modify the state of the parent component, and this component is getting the data from this component. So you communicate through the parent, through common parent. A little bit confused?
Parent child.
Hmm?
Means it's a parent child.
It's a parent-child, yeah. For example, here let's say constructor props, super. Okay, clear. Let's say I need to put all the state that I need because I noticed something. Yeah, here precisely. I guess it's here. Yeah, date, description, and done. But there is no done here. There is just description and date. You should initialize the state with all the possible values of state that you're gonna use. All of them. So when I want to read your component, I can see what you are doing. You can just omit this, and after that setting like date and stuff. But that's not good. Put all the thing. Put done like here. False, something. and I can say this dot state. So I have date is here. I have disk is here. I have date is here. Disk to do is there. To do is there. Disk is there. Date is there. To do is there. To do is there. Date is there. That's good. So you should put all the possible values of the state inside the constructor. It's just really good, so I can, when someone reads your code, or even you know what values you have, and not reading through the component and trying to figure out, like me now, searching and stuff. So what we need. So the first thing, this component will take the data from this component. So instead of putting the value form and stuff here, we will put them here, and we pass them to this component. Okay? So I will have here text, or to do text. Let's initialize it with an empty. Okay? We have. I will just put my ID here. Now, what do we need also? We are trying to group all. For example,
Value.
which value? It's to do text. It's the value. It's like the text of the to do. I just name it to do text. I can name it value.
Because you have the app to do
What do you mean? What?
You can prepare an array.
Yeah, but
Put all the
the array is related to the to do form. No, the array is not related to do form. The array is related to the to do list. So what we are trying to do? I have one component with its own state. I have another component with its own state. In this example, we have to do form with the input value as a state, and we have another component with the to do list as a state. To group them together, or to make them like work together, we create a parent component. We put them both inside the parent component, and we lift the state up. What I mean by lifting the state up is taking the state from both of them and grouping it inside the parent component. Lifting the state up. Why I'm doing that? Because sometimes it's really hard for, let's say this component is rendering like to do form, but let's say the to do form is rendered by another component. For example, let's say in case of, I don't know, in case of messenger or something, when a new text appear, or when you receive a new message, they will increment the counter, and also the message will appear in the chat box. So there is like a common state between them. You can have two separate states. You can have like state here and state there. So this input, you can keep its state here, and also another input, and or the same input, you can keep like its state in another component. But that's not good, because you will have two duplicate values. Each time you need to change this one, you need to change both of them. Let's say you have 4, 5, 6. It will create a lot of bugs. Sometimes you forget to update and stuff. It's like jQuery and these kind of frameworks. Okay?
So why if we use this input value for all of them?
Yeah, you want, but the problem is this input value is inside another component.
We need to find that.
No, it's like it's here, and you cannot access this input component. I'm not talking about this component specifically, but I'm talking about the state behind this component, the text value. In case of Facebook, for example, when you send a message, it goes to the server, and the server will update the client. A new message is coming. So either you put all the messages or all the new messages in one place, and both components, the header component and the shot component, will reference the same list, messages list, or you can have two separate message lists. But each time a new message comes or you read a message, you need to update both of them, and it will create a lot of dependency. You need to update multiple places. That's not good. So a really good pattern called centralized state. So centralize your state. have all your state in one place. Never have duplicate state. Let's say you have a to-do list and there is categories. There is like the urgent category or important, and there is the I don't know, like less important. So there's important, less important. You need to have like one list, to-do list, and when you click the important, you filter them by important, and you show it. And when you click less important, you filter them by less important, and you show it. You don't need to create two separate like arrays, holding like separate entries, one array for important and one array for less important. Let's say you want to show them both, or you want to edit or delete one of them, or you want to change from one to the other. It's really difficult to do if you maintain two different like source of truths. Is it clear why we need like centralized state? It's like you. Let's say you want to check the hack your future. I don't know, like announcement. Let's say if you want to know if you have class next Monday or something. Let's say it's Easter. You don't know. But there is Christopher or Maria. They are the single source of truth. Or there is the Slack channel. You can see them posting. Because the state is centralized. The source of the state is centralized. You trust one single source of truth. One single source of truth. You trust it. But let's say there is a lot of people talking and there is no Slack and you cannot like spot really single source of truth. You'll be confused. You got the idea? Exactly. And I will say, for example, I met Christopher yesterday and he told me there is no classes in Easter. But let's say you met Christopher 1 week ago and he was not sure and he said we have classes. You should trust me or you should trust him. You never know. Because you can never have like really updated like state kind of, because this is state, I'm holding state. So it's really difficult to trust multiple people or trust multiple sources of truth. Because at the end, this is like sort of truth.
State also represented as parents, so
you have
to trust the parents.
Exactly. The parent is giving me props. So the parent is the truth because he's giving me props. I don't take anything from any other else. I just take props. I have my own state, but from the exterior world, I just take props. Clear? Why we need the single source of truth? Why single source of truth is good? Because every time you know that this is valid and this is the only valid thing. You are not confused about should I do or should I get the state from there or should I get the state from this? No. I'm sure that this is the only source of truth. You got the idea a little bit? So here we will have like one single source of truth, which is the parent component. So it will hold the to-do text and the to-do items, let's say. Or let's say to-do list. But it's just, I want to kind of differentiate it from this.
How to do values?
Values is a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So let's say it's an object. Because I want to have like index, because a lot of people, I noticed something, a lot of people are using the key as an index here. You notice that? That's not good. You know why? Because the key doesn't represent the entity. The key doesn't represent the to-do list. It's just a random. It's provided by the for loop. You didn't have, for example, let's say you refresh the page and you get the data from the server and you run another for loop. For example, the to-do list, like it was the first node, maybe it will be the second or the third. You can never trust the for loop. You can never get the data from the for loop. So it's not really a unique identifier. You got the idea? Last time I gave you an example of database. You have an ID, so you fetch it, you put it in the front end. That's unique. If you refresh the page like 70 times, 100 times, 1000, it's stored in the database. It will be the same. You know that it's unique because you did the schema of your database. But for the for loop, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a for loop. Maybe you will change it. Let's say you don't have a for loop here. Maybe you will use map or filter. You don't have an index anymore. Or the index will change. Because you filter the array and we remove the second item, so the third item becomes the second item. And React will kind of be confused. Oh, it's not the same item, but you are saying it's the same item because it's the same index. So don't trust the index. Okay. So when representing the to-do list, either you put an array with object with text and ID here and something, or you can do better. You can create an object with other object inside it, and you say here, for example, ID1, ID2, ID3. Why this is better? Because updating become more easier. Let's say you want to delete this item. How you can do this in an array? It's really difficult to delete items from arrays. It's possible, but it's difficult. And it costs a lot of, let's say you have like 1000 items. You need to go to the 500 like item, remove it. That's too much. If you have an object, you can just delete this key. And done. And accessing the data. If you have the ID, you can access the data. But let's say you have like ID1 here. How you can access the ID here? You need to have a filter function. So you need to filter through the data and start looking if the ID equals the requested ID, if the ID. But here you can just do, let's say this is my object. You can just use like object.id1. And you can access the data, you can delete it, you can edit it, you can do whatever you want. But in case of array, it's a little bit difficult to work with data inside arrays. Objects are better. They are indexed, you can delete, you can access them.
In the homework we can do this.
What?
In the homework we can do this.
Yes, I know.
So I'm saying exactly the same. Why not?
Because it's just better, it's easier to work with lists when you are kind of in the entry level. But now we are trying to learn more advanced stuff. A better ways of doing that. Okay? Is it clear why we are using object here? It's almost the same thing as an array. So I guess you need your break.